So show of hands, who loves getting objections? No, no. Maciek, come on. You gotta like sometimes you gotta love getting objections.
No, I can't say I do.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. After this call today, you are going to have a new respect for objections, and you're actually going to like to receive them. Now, let's just talk about objections for a second. Objections are more automatic when it comes to human beings because we have, we have fear or flight, right? We're concerned about something, we're fearful. Remember, in the industry that we're in, hey, Eli, the industry that we are helping people make a massive decision, right? I mean, gosh, it's hard to make decisions sometimes anyway. I mean, what do you want for dinner or this or lunch? These people are making the biggest financial decision of their life, and they're doing that within the context of some sort of life change. They're getting married, they got to buy a house. Getting divorced, we got to get separate, sell the house. We're having kids are moving out of college, or job relocation. Think about objections, are just a natural state of mind. It's almost like our defense mechanism to protect ourselves. So I want you to think of objections in those terms. Objections are nothing about you. It's not about Maciek, Sherry, Eli, Bettina, Orly. It's not about any of us. It's about the mental state and the decision-making process that's going on in their head and in their heart. So I want to start by just identifying what objections are. Number one, it's uncertainty, right? People are, making a big decision. It could be something that they're uncertain about, they're just, gosh, I don't even know if I should move to Sarasota. I don't even know if I should move to this neighborhood. I don't have enough information. So there's a lot of uncertainty with the process of buying a house or signing a contract or hiring a buyer's representative or a listing agent. Just a lot of uncertainty in general. There's also a lot of fear, right? They don't want to make the wrong decision. I said it before. It's a defense mechanism is objections. And then lastly, or actually third, it is a desire for, there's lack of information. Don't you feel like when you're going to make a big decision, you want to have all the facts, all the information so that you are making a good decision? Is that pretty normal in our human decision-making process? You guys would agree with that? Shake your head. Perfect. And then the last thing, objections it really is just a desire for reassurance. Sometimes objections are just words, but deep down inside, they just want to be reassured. So first of all, when we reframe objections are a wonderful thing. I want to give a quote here. Treat objections as requests for farther information. That's from Brian Tracy, and that's exactly what that is. So we're going to jump into, I wanted to kind of give you that context right there, but we're going to jump in to the process, the easy 5-step process. I've been teaching this for 15 years. Maciek, I don't know if you remember this from my KW days, but I've been teaching this strategy on our script calls and everything way, way back then. All right. So anyway, first and foremost, step number one, if we get an objection, we are going to validate it and repeat it. Why do you think that's a good first step, to validate and repeat? Anybody
Well, people want to be heard.
want to be heard?
Yeah, and
Do you
not
know that?
misheard too.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you're making sure that you heard it the way they
Right.
intended it to be heard.
I'm going to tell you, there is the subtleness of validation as a basic human need is probably one of the most powerful things out there. Everybody wants to be validated. A lot of people don't get validated at their work. They don't get validated by their kids. They don't get validated by their husband. What does validation mean? Validation means that you are being heard, you are being gotten. People just want to be gotten. They want to be acknowledged. And that's what validation is. So the reason the first step is validate is we are offering a certain level of respect and connectivity with our clients that, guess what? They're not receiving on a day-to-day basis. I'll give you an example. Have you ever have you ever been in a meeting before and someone said, "Gosh, that's a really good question." Has that ever happened to anybody? What is your initial thought to that response?
Well, because we come from scripts, uh, my initial reaction is like, all right, this guy's a little scripted. Let's see what else he
Yep.
got.
But a true, like, that's a great question. Like, that's a really good question. For most people that aren't in the real estate business and, and practicing in high level skills like Machek and a lot of people here, the simple comment of "That's a really great question" actually makes them feel important. It makes them feel good, and that is really important. Remember, if we can offer this connectivity with our clients at the get-go, and I'm not just saying, "That's a good question," is what you say, but that is a validation. That is a validation. So our first step, number 1, is we validate them. We'll validate their concern, but then we also repeat it. Because a lot of times we think about when people have objections, it's just a process that they are getting through in their head. And it's just a process that we actually have to help them through. Do we help them through all of the hurdles and all of the, complexities of real estate, of buying and selling a property? Do we help them through that, all of that? Absolutely. There's no difference when it comes to handling objections. We are helping them through the hurdles of the process of making a decision, and that's literally what handling objections are. So step number 1, we validate and then we repeat. That's both of those are in step number 1. The reason we repeat, it's because sometimes people say objections just to say something. And we want to make sure that they are validated, and then we repeat it for them. We repeat it for them. And the reason is when we can repeat back an objection, sometimes what they say, what's coming out of their mouth is a lot different than what's being heard. So they need to hear what that objection is. If they say, an objection like, "Oh, this is too expensive," or "This is way overpriced," you have to repeat that back because they need to hear what they're saying. A lot of people don't hear what they're actually saying. Does that make sense? Do you remember a lot of people live up here? Absolutely. So perfect. Anyone have any questions on step 1? And we're going to role play this. We're going to go through this, but it's a lot of fun. Any questions on step 1? Pretty easy, right? We validate, we repeat it back to them. Perfect. When we do that, we're getting more information. We're opening up. The next thing we do is we really clarify. So step number 2 is clarifying the objection. Now, this is where it gets really fun, and I like to dive deep. I like to scuba dive with my clients at this point. I start asking why. Like, why is that so important to you? Or, talk to me about your perspective of pricing in this market. Why is that so concerning to you? What we're doing right there is we're uncovering a deeper, more rooted concern in the clients. So I want you to think of handling of the objection. Number one, 80% of the time, it's not even an objection, it's just words. But most of the time, when we're handling the objection through the easy 5-step process, we're actually diving deeper into their true concerns. Because at the end of the day, remember, the way I coach and the way we train and the way you guys help your clients, we do it at the highest level of integrity. We differentiate ourselves from the masses out there because we are the ones out there doing our job at the highest level, and that's why we are respected, and that's how we separate ourselves from other people. So the more we can learn about the deeper concerns that's going through our client's head, guess what? The better we're serving them. That offers so many benefits. We're connecting with them more. We're understanding them more. We're able to answer questions so they feel confident in making a decision. All of this goes into the whole process of buying and selling a house and the relationship you're going to have with them for the next 5, 10, 15 plus years through helping them with their next house and the referrals and all of that. So the handling of the objection part serves such a bigger role than just that objection. Does that make sense? Am I talking too fast? Okay, perfect. Step number two, we clarify. And I like to always ask the question, why? Why? Why is that important to you? What about that is most concerning to you? I'm just going deeper. And guess what? Those are open-ended questions. I'm having them open up and tell me more. The cool thing about the easy five-step process is after the process itself, I'm going to probably say 75% or 80% of the time, the objection is already handled within that five-step process because we've already gone through this line of questioning. We've either flushed it out that it wasn't really an objection, it just needed more information, or it's just something they're saying, or they just needed, just more clarity on everything. So that's the benefit of the easy five-step process for overcoming objections. Step number three. So after step number two, when we've asked why and we've asked, we're going deeper, they're talking, guess what we're going to do again? I told you this is a really easy step. We're going to validate it and repeat it again. It sounds mundane. It sounds like, Andrew, come on, this is just too easy. It's true. We validate what they said and we repeat it. By repeating it, they get to hear what they're saying. They get to hear the reframed version of what they're saying, the deeper version of what they're saying, and we're validating them. That's perfect. So step number one, validate, repeat. Step number two is we're asking why. We're going deeper. We're clarifying. Step number three, we're validating and repeating. Pretty easy so far. And once you see this in action, you're going to love it. Step number four, after step number three, we've really identified what's the concern. We've repeated it. We've validated that concern. Step number four is really important. So step number four is what we call isolation. We isolate the objection. You might be asking, why do we isolate the objection? They're probably going to have a ton of objections because the whole process of isolating this objection is taking them through this process towards a successful decision-making process. So for example, if the objection was, let's say if the objection was, I have a bunch of objections here, is location preferences or whatever. If we ask the question, besides, Bettina, besides, your uncertainty of this neighborhood and where you want to be, specifically with this house, is there anything else that's concerning? What I'm doing is I'm opening up the door right there to be able to have them add any other objections. I'm doing this for two purposes. Number one, I want to create space for them to openly share. We're in this decision-making process and we're helping them move forward. So I'm opening it up for them to share, to be able to, hey, besides this, is there anything else? There could be, there could be not, or there might not be anything else at that moment, and that's totally fine. The reason I'm doing this is because in people's minds, when they're getting close to making a buying decision or a big decision to work with somebody, they are just flooded in their mind with concerns and fears and this and this and this and this and this. The reason we isolate that objection at that very moment is we're helping them really compartmentalize what that concern is. And by isolating this objection, what they're going to typically say is, no, Andrew, besides the neighborhood, everything else about this house is perfect. So what I've done through isolating, I've actually reassured and reconfirmed everything else that they like about the house. And remember, we're not showing them houses just off the bat. We've already done our buyer's consultation. We've gone through the buyer questionnaire, and we're at the process now of we're at the house. We're sitting in front of them. We're here to make a decision right now. We've isolated that objection, which actually takes that one objection. Hey, it's important. Totally understand it's important for you to get this answered and addressed. And we're putting it right here, but we're also confirming that everything else we've talked about, if you're going to sign a listing agreement with our brokerage, is good. It's good, but there's nothing else. So what that means is at that point, as long as we can handle or overcome this objection, they're willing to move forward. That's a closing technique right there. We're always doing soft closings. Jen Rhodes says a quote, "Not every objection is something to overcome." That is a really, really good quote. Not every objection is something to overcome. I even said it before. I was like, people just kind of say things. That's why we're going through this process. And it might sound long. I'm going deeper throughout these whole 5 steps, but at the same time, it happens like this, and I'll show you. Step number 5 is where we actually handle the objection if there is still an objection to be handled. Now, like I said before, the majority of the time, by the time you get to step 5, it typically is no longer an objection, or it's a completely different concern than what they originally objected to, which was our process of kind of flushing out the objection, getting them the information they need that they're missing, giving them that reassurance, giving them that clarity with whatever they're concerned about, is handling the objection. And I will be very frank, some objections simply can't be handled. If it is a condition of them moving forward, for example, I know in the videos I used, if the house simply isn't big enough, it does not have enough rooms for the children, and they can't make it work, then guess what? That is a valid objection, and that house is not going to be a good fit. And as a great professional, you're not going to put somebody in a house or sell something that's not going to be a good fit for them, because we're not like that. So I want to just kind of put the tension at ease. Is some objections aren't made to be overcome. We're not crazy salespeople that are just going to sell them whatever just to get a sale. What we're doing through this process is we're helping them navigate the process of making a decision, but we're also looking out for their best interests, right? I love how Maciek said, we're a fiduciary, right? We're looking out for their best interest. We want them to make a good decision and help them along that process. So guys, that is the 5-step process. Again, on step 5, what we're doing at that point, we've we've addressed any uncertainties they have. We've addressed any fears that they've had, any lack of information that they've had, and we've, throughout that process, we've reassured them, which are the 4 most important things. Now we get into the reframing of it. So who's ready to do some role plays? And I don't have any scripts in front of me at all right now. I believe in the 5-step process so much, and I've done it a lot. And I want you guys to get really good at doing this, because it's a lot of fun to work through, and the conversations that you're going to start having with people, it's so important. And just like I did with the 10 days to a contract course, what's so neat is a lot of these techniques don't have to be real estate related. Real estate related. It does not have to be. The 5-step overcoming objections process can be used in any scenario. If you're having if your spouse objects to something, or your partner objects to something, or your kids object to something, have fun with it. Have fun with it. I'll say to my little Charlie, she'll, hey, I haven't had the iPad all day. I want to be like, gosh, it sounds like I hear you, Charlie. It sounds like, it sounds like you really miss your iPad, and tell me why you think you need, like, you can have fun with your kids or anybody through the 5-step process. So who wants to have some fun? Who wants to try it? I do. I do. All right. So let's have some fun. Let's go through a couple of them, and I'm going to role play with you, and we'll talk through it. But let's start with some basic ones. Sherry, you raised your hand. You said you might have a objection. You want to take yourself off mute.
Sorry about that.
You're great. Do you have do you have an objection that we could talk about?
Let's see.
Anything. It can
I,
be simple.
um, I don't really want seafood for dinner.
Oh, you really don't want, we're doing non-real estate related. You don't want seafood for dinner.
Sure.
Okay. That's what you said. You don't want seafood for dinner. Okay. All right. Let me put
Well, here,
myself.
no, I'll
No,
make
it's
it
okay.
real estate. I'll
No,
turn it around.
actually, let's do it. Let's do
Okay.
no seafood for dinner. And we're going to
Okay.
start with a nice little fun one with that. So, gosh, I hear you. It sounds like, tonight you're just not in that seafood mood. Tell me, why are you feeling that way?
Because we've had we've had seafood the last 4 nights in a row.
Okay, well, that totally makes sense. I think there's a certain limit per the week you should be eating seafood. Doctor recommended. No, I'm just joking. No, I hear you, Sherry. You're right. We've had seafood for dinner for the past 4 nights. I'm a little bit seafood out myself. You know, besides having seafood all this week, is there anything else that's preventing us from going out and having a great dinner tonight?
Not really. Traffic
Okay.
is better. The tourists are gone, the snowbirds are gone.
Perfect. So you agree. I hear you. Yeah, you're right. So you agree there's really nothing holding us back from having a great dinner and going out tonight, just
Right.
not seafood. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yeah, you got it.
I, I respect that. I respect that. And let's go get Italian. How about that? But anyway, that's
Perfect.
kind of a joke, kind of objection. But do you see what I did there? I actually went through the 5-step process really quickly in a matter of like 30 seconds. I
Mhm.
listened to her. I validated her. I asked her why. I validated that. I isolated the objection and then I handled the objection, which, just like I
Mhm.
said before, there really wasn't an objection to be handled. I want
Nope.
seafood, right? That was a good,
Right.
fun exercise. Let's try more of like a like a real estate one.
How
Anybody?
about
Oh.
how about if we do something like a two-story, like two-story versus one-story, like families relocating, they don't know the
Mhm.
area. So what if I really don't want a two-story, it's so expensive with the air conditioning and, the
Okay.
stairs and the little ones and, like how, like something like that scenario. But
Yeah.
even though
Yep.
maybe a two-story would be a better fit for them, just with the layout and the room and everything
Sure.
for the size
Perfect.
family.
That's a great one. And I just definitely want to give everybody context. Now, in our buyer's consultation, we would have identified whether a 1-story or a 2-story would be better for their family. We would have dove deep into that. But let's just say, Sherry, you're the buyer. We've
Okay.
had our buyer's consultation,
Hmm.
and we see a house that is a 2-story. We're inside the house, okay? And again, originally you said 1 story. So let's do that objection.
Hmm.
I like that. Okay,
Okay.
perfect. So Sherry, so tell me what is your biggest concern about the house? You said something about 1-story versus 2-story.
Yeah, with the little ones, the stairs, up and down the stairs, just, you know, they're 4 and 6, and just I don't want to have to gate the stairs, and the bedrooms are up there and ours is down here, and the master suite is down here, and just being on different floors. And so the stairs are my main concern.
Okay, perfect. So, and that's definitely a great concern. It's the safety for your children. The, within the context of the house, I totally hear you. That's a definitely a valid concern. So I'm happy that you brought that up. I know we originally, had discussed 2-story versus 1-story, but you really wanted to see this house. So what I'm hearing is that, you know, the 2-story, the big thing concerned about is the stairs and then also the distance from the master bedroom to the kids' bedrooms, that being a far
Mhm.
that being far apart or farther away than you would like. How accurate is that? How accurate?
Um, that's accurate. I mean,
Okay.
that as far as, that validates, my concern.
Okay. So we're on the right page. Perfect. So tell me
Yeah.
why is the distance, why is that so important to you? The stairs and again the distance between the master bedroom to the kids' bedrooms on 2 separate levels. Why? Tell me a little bit more why that's most important to you.
We currently have a 1-story where we live now. So coming here, relocating here, it's, you know, it's just maybe my comfort level because we've always been on one floor, maybe just not sure how that would really work.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So what I'm hearing is you're this is step 3. What I'm hearing is that you and your family, you're used to a one level home. You have a certain level of comfort with that. And not only moving out of state into a different state, but also moving into a completely different structure of a house is it's going to be different. It's going to be that's a different move for you, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. That was step three. Besides the floors being on different levels, is there anything else about this house? Because you're the one who said you wanted to come see this house, even though it's 2 story. Is there anything else about the levels of the floors that are holding you back from making a decision today?
I don't think so because there is a big open floor plan on each, it's open on each level. There's lots of space. There's a loft for a play area. There's plenty of space, and obviously with a growing family, more space, and there's a guest room for visitors, etc. So, I mean, it does meet our needs. So, for that reason, it's very appealing.
Okay. I'm going to stop right there. What do you think just happened in this role play? Anybody?
The objection went away.
The objection went away. Thank you very much, Sherry. Either the objection went away or the main objection, the big elephant, in our face of like, it's 2 stories. It's become like a little mouse and it's not as big of an issue. I wanted you to see that perfectly, that by going through those first 4 steps, she actually handled her own objection. But I'm not going to just dismiss it. So I'm going to keep going. So step number 5, I'm going to handle this objection. So Sherry, thank you so much for sharing that. And, you're right. We did a thorough buyer's consultation where we've outlined a lot of the benefits. You said growing your family was really important and having enough space for the kids and even having almost that separation of space when it gets busier is going to be important. You also mentioned having the extra bonus room in the playroom for them upstairs, which hopefully would keep kind of the toys and the mess upstairs and not downstairs in the main living area. And then you also said about having that extra space for a guest bedroom, because now that you're moving to Florida, all your friends and family are probably going to want to come and stay with you and stuff.
Yeah.
So I totally hear you as far as the 2 stories. And like you said, there's a lot of benefits to the 2 story based on, the big change that you're going through. So let me just ask you a question. This house meets all of your needs, has the space, has the sides. Actually, it has that separation of space for the kids and the guests and the bonus room and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel that the 2 story now is more beneficial than the possibility of having all of that on one level? Talk to me about that.
Absolutely, because now I can, talking through it is helpful, and now I can
Mhm.
see those, I can visualize that difference. And the 1 stories really don't have quite as much room,
Mhm.
and it would be nice to have their things, their toys, and everything separated. Be
Yeah.
able to have some separate space. So yeah, I think it's, changed my mind as far as the direction of space.
Okay, good. I could have asked that last question better, but I think the whole point of this process, which I hope you've seen and heard, is that I just literally assisted her in overcoming her own objection. At the beginning, oh, I'm worried about the kids being far away. They're upstairs, we're downstairs. But it turned around where Sherry said in her own words, it's actually a better solution to have the kids up there, have the bonus room up there, have some separation in space for a lot of different purposes. What I did through the handling of the objection part is all I did is highlighted the benefits that Sherry said, and that helped reassure her to be able to make that decision. So let me ask you this. Role play's over. Sherry, how do you feel about your decision about this house? How do you feel about this decision?
Oh, I love this decision. I think it's
Good.
much better fit.
Yeah. It kind of feels good talking through it and getting clarity around why it's important and what's really concerning, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know about you, but I had fun through that process. I want you guys to start having fun because now, um, overcoming objections and my whole premise for teaching you these is over. I love this. I don't know who said this, but overcoming objections is a mindset first and then a skill set. And you could write that down. I'll have that in print, but it is it's very true. Overcoming objections is a mindset first, then a skill set. So Maciek, I'm heading back to you. You can just listen if you want, but I remember you said, "Oh, I don't like getting objections and stuff." Remember, overcoming objections is a mindset first. If we get if we get excited about objections, which I'll tell you why I'm most excited about objections, but if we first work on the mindset, then it's a skill set. The reason I love objections is guess what, guys? If your clients aren't having objections, they're not buying. They just aren't. They're going to want to see the next house and the next house and the next house, and they may or may not make a decision. The whole point of people having objections and the way I look at it, the way I've reframed objections in my head is like, oh my God, that's awesome. That means they're actually real buyers. Like, we got a real opportunity at this house. That means they're getting serious. And so that's why I'm always like, oh my gosh, please, if there's anything else, let me know. I'm like, give me some more objections. It's too easy. So have fun with it, but it is a mindset first, then it's a skill set. You guys love that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm really trying to imprint this into your mind. So I'm going to do this really quick. Step number 1, we validate and repeat. Step number 2, we clarify, AKA we ask, why is that important? We're going deeper. Step number 3, we validate it and repeat it. Step number 4, we isolate the objection. And then step number 5, if the objection's already handled, we just highlight the benefits of what they say. But if that step number 5 is for us to offer alternatives, handle the objection if that's what it is. Guys, that's how easy this is. Would you raise your hand if you agree that this is an easy 5-step process? Awesome. Awesome. I'm not making you raise your hand, but I mean, I think it is easy and fun. All right. Who else? I'd like to do one more. And then I wanted to offer it up to anybody if they want to kind of go through the 5-step process. And again, we're just having fun here. Bettina,
I
you
got
want to
one.
go?
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
Maciek. Okay. What do you got,
No,
brother?
no, it's okay. Go ahead, Bettina.
Oh, I think she's still on mute.
Sorry, guys. I don't know if this is a proper objection in the sense of what we're doing here, because I know you had mentioned there's a lot of things that you need to kind of get out the way in your buyer's consultation. But that's where I see a lot of my objections. By the way, everyone, I'm a new agent. So for example, a lot of things that I've been hearing over the phone is, oh, I want to wait. It's election year. I want to wait for the rates. Prices are coming down. Or
Yeah.
something I heard a lot of in the past week was, oh, my credit score is bad and I want to rent for a year and
Mhm.
maybe make a plan and then buy. So maybe you kind of already hit on it in the sense of a lot of these people are maybe just needing more information or clarity about um, some of these problems. So maybe that's the answer there, but that's a lot of where my problem with objections comes in, and just trying to figure out whether they're a serious buyer or how I can help this person see that it's not so bad, it's not so scary without being too pushy, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, that makes
So
total
I don't know if
sense.
we could do something like that, but
Hey, Bettina, let's do it. Let's tackle it, right? We're all, family here. We'll have some fun with it, right? And remember, you are correct. There's different contexts of handling objections, but I hold true that I believe in the easy 5-step process so much. I believe that it could be beneficial to utilize objections over the phone as well. But remember, you're going to be at the stage of you don't necessarily have a relationship with them yet. But hey, let's give it a whirl, right? Let's go ahead and let's use the it's an election year objection. Okay? You're
sounds
over the
good.
phone. You can be the client. I'll be the agent.
Okay. Um, okay. Well, hey Andrew, thank you so much for setting me up on your website for me to receive properties with my criteria, but I'm just not too sure. It's an election year and the Fed has made some promises that may or may not happen. We're just kind of on the sidelines right now. So I don't want to waste too much of your time and just for nothing to happen on my end.
Oh, Bettina, thank you so much for sharing that with me. And I just want to first and foremost say I love your transparency and honesty. And what you're saying is, you did receive the properties that I sent you, right? And you're a little concerned about making a buying decision today, this year because of the election. How accurate is that? Yep. Okay. Perfect. So
Absolutely.
tell me,
It's very accurate. Just sorry, go for it.
okay, that's
It's
perfect.
like
That's perfect.
lagging
No.
a little bit.
So tell me, what is most concerning about election year specifically, about making a decision this year to buy?
Well, I think that there might be a lot of movement in terms of interest rates, and I would like to lock myself in at a better interest rate. Right now, I'm sitting on a house with a mortgage rate of 2.8%, and I'm just freaked out by the 7% rates that we're having at the moment. So I just really don't want to kick myself in the butt if down the road they end up lowering to a price that or to a rate that I would much rather prefer.
Yeah. That's really smart. Step three. That's really smart, Bettina, because, you're not only looking out for your interests now, but you're also kind of future pacing and you're concerned about the interest rate. It sounds like the interest rate from an election standpoint and those rates potentially going down to your amazing rate at like 2.8% today in the future. How is that what I'm hearing? Is it's really that interest rate and the uncertainty about the feds and the interest rate. That's the biggest concern about election year.
Definitely, definitely. I just don't know what these candidates are going to be promising in the next few months to
Hmm.
win over some of our population. And I know that prices have been coming down, and I've been hearing a lot of realtors tell me that now is the best time to buy and date the rate and all that sort of cliche
Hmm.
slogans or sayings, but I'm still just really hesitant. And a few ticks on that rate can make a really big difference in my monthly payments.
I agree. I agree. So, besides the interest rate and really trying to, the uncertainty of what the future holds with regards to interest rates. Besides that, this is step four. Besides that, is there anything else that's really holding you back from making a buying decision, you know, this year?
No, I mean I've already been looking at homes, and I love the community of Sarasota and just what it has to offer. I would really like to move down here, but yeah, just kind of on the sidelines and waiting for the magic moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and validate that real quick. I hear you. I'm going to go ahead into step five. I'm going to handle the objection, right? I'm going to handle the objection. So, Bettina, thank you so much for sharing all that. I feel like I have a lot more information. So, thank you so much for really clarifying that. Number one, Bettina, you have a 2.8% interest rate, which is phenomenal. Again, those interest rates, in my professional opinion, are probably never going to be available ever again. I just, even at a 5, 6, and 7% in the scope of the last 30, 40 years, even the 5, 6, 7% is low in the big scope of things. The 2.8%, 2.5s, 3% are completely unheard of. So just to kind of let you know, that's a phenomenal rate. It'd be hard to get that. I don't foresee that happening in the future. But here's the thing, what I think what's mostly concerning, and you said it yourself, is you want to time the market. Like you really want to time the market where you're getting not only the best rate, but you're getting the best price on the house. Is that correct? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, and I'll usually make a joke at this point. I'll be like, well, you're in luck. Let me get my crystal ball right here. I'll get my crystal ball. I usually make like a little joke, something like that. But anyway, no, seriously though, but no, I hear you. And a lot of people feel the same way. There's just a lot of uncertainty in the world right now, right? Interest rates, elections, war, all that kind of stuff. The truth is the real estate market is constantly changing. There's no doubt about it. And it's nearly impossible to be able to time the market perfectly. The good news is that historically, prices in the real estate market, it's always been a good investment and it's typically always gone up over the long term. So here's my biggest question for you is when it comes to pricing and it comes to interest rates, for the next purchase that you make, how long do you plan on being in that house?
Well, I would plan, to have a family in that house. So maybe around even 10 years or so at a
Okay.
minimum.
Okay, at a minimum. So I like to ask that question because I think timing is so important. Some people are like, well, I'll be there for a couple of years, then I'll buy something new. Or it's like you, like, hey, I want to be there a minimum of 10 years. Like, this is going to be my dream home where I'm going to raise my kids and all this other stuff. Like, I don't plan on leaving in the short term. That's really important for you to share that with me. And I appreciate that. And it's important to note that when we are making a decision like this because typically over the course of a 10-year period, the market is going to be going up and down, up and down, up and down. Luckily, it's still going, it's still going on an upward turn. Timing is really important because you can't, I believe there would be more. It's okay, Eli. I'll be able there be more issue with prices going up over the course of several years than trying to time the market with regards to rate. Because in that course of 10 years, you'll never be able to time it. But the good news is consistently over the longevity of time, real estate has always been a solid investment. And like you said before, if you got into a house at today's prices, which like you said, there's been price reductions, there's a good time to buy now. If rates do drop to 4 or 5%, you can always refinance to capture that lower rate. As a matter of fact, I refinanced twice on my house to get to a low rate, and I'm so glad I did because that opportunity provided itself. But I am sure as glad I was able to buy at the lower price that I did and not wait 5 years. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So based on that, knowing that we can't time the market, but also knowing that you're going to be in the house for, a much longer time than we anticipated, what are your thoughts about, really moving forward today and at least getting our feelers out there to see some houses?
Well, Andrew, when you put it more into a perspective and knowing what I know about the market and that the only person that has really beat the market is maybe like Warren Buffett, I think that it would make a lot more sense for me to plan out my future and get myself ready and, make sure that I'm in a good school district for my future kids and that I can buy the dream home now. And if down the road the opportunity comes to refinance, like you said, and since you have done it yourself as well, proof to the point, that makes me a lot more comfortable that now might be a better time to not worry so much about our crystal ball and about the future rates and just give it a try and at least go out and explore what's out there for me.
Okay, perfect. Well, anyway, that was a conversation. I went way longer than I should have. Again, I told you I'm off the cuff, but I'm really trying to understand Bettina, the client, even over the phone. But let me ask you this. Was that a pretty cool conversation to have, even over the phone? Like,
Oh,
do
yeah,
I sound like an
definitely.
agent that cares about what you're concerned about?
Hmm.
Okay. Does
For
that
sure.
open up the opportunity to maybe have another conversation with me in the future?
Yeah, I feel like it built a stronger relationship just between client and agent. The fact that you had that knowledge.
Fantastic. Thank you. And I hope you're not just saying that. 'Cause you're like,
I'm not.
no,
No.
good. But that was my point, is that the opportunities that are available for us when overcoming objections, the goal isn't to just overcome the objection. The goal is to build relationship. The goal is to understand our clients better. The goal is to just to build that connection. And I would say a successful outcome to any objection handling, like the 5-step, like, what's a success? A success doesn't necessarily mean that, hey, we've successfully overcome that objection and you're going to buy today. That's not the goal. The goal is I've built more credibility and trust with my client. I've helped them work through the process successfully, and I've built a better connection with them so I can serve them at a higher level. That's the success of, and that's the opportunity within overcoming objections. I think that's just super cool. I get lit up about this stuff. Thank you, Bettina. Sherry, you were going to say
Thank
something?
you.
You're welcome.
No, I mean, Andrew, you know that the mortgage side of me is sitting here just like ready to explode.
I know. Sherry's in the mortgage business for like, what, 30 something years?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So like there's a part of me that's like, but there are so many loan programs out there and you can afford it. And there's so many creative financing and this and that.
Yeah.
So like that part of me is like going, but have you explored all these, have you explored all of your loan options? And, if they aren't aware of, the DPAs, the down payment assistance programs, because Florida is unique and has some down payment assistance programs for 100% financing or lower financing, or more financing and lower down payments. So, and it's a non-repayment type of thing. So it's almost like getting a first and a second mortgage, but that second helps for the down payment with a 0% interest or a non-payment. So like having all of that knowledge is like ready to go.
You are right. Sherry, thank you so much for sharing this. And this is the beauty of a mastermind. Guys, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers at all of this, but us together, we're masterminding together. Sherry brought up a great point that I missed, is there are tons of opportunities out there from a financing standpoint for exactly down payment assistance,
Or
buyers,
using seller.
paying down
Yeah, or
closing and all that kind of stuff.
right. Or, maybe if it's a great price, they find, you find a house and it's like, it's just a little out of reach because of that. You know what?
Yep.
Maybe that seller would be willing to give a little bit of seller concession, and that can be used to buy down the rate,
Buy down the
so
rate.
then you're getting to that rate, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
Absolutely.
That makes it affordable and it's a win-win for everybody.
I love it. And that's the whole idea of offering alternatives when you're handling the objection. Like, hey, these are objections. Like, Sherry, you are spot on. Well done.
Oh, thanks.
Awesome.
My
I love
mortgage girl hat came off.
Oh my gosh, look at you. You're nailing it. Machek, we got a few minutes left, but I wanted to see if we could I wanted Machek to get a turn.
Well, I have a situation right now actually where I'm talking to my seller. He's 30 days listed, and I want to get him on a price reduction. I had a brief conversation this morning about it, and we're probably going to do the price reduction next week. But the conversation has to do not about doing one, but about how much to do one. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm suggesting he does 20,000, which is just slightly under 3%, and he suggested 10,000. First 5, then he went to 10. So really, this is an objection that we're about to have a conversation about real soon again.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so you want me to? I'll wing it. I'll try to do it. I'll use the 5-step process. We'll see how it
Okay,
goes.
and he's a little tough. He's a Marine, so
Oh, perfect.
so I'll be a little tough with it. Just kind of see how you play it.
Okay. I don't have number one, what is the price point that you're at right now?
Right now, $795.
Okay, so you're at $795. Okay.
Yeah.
And you want to get to $775.
75. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
which was
Perfect.
a counter offer that he did with someone
Oh,
else.
okay. That makes
That
it
and
even better.
those people just went somewhere else, you know.
I hear you. I hear you. So
Yeah.
awesome. So, Maciek, so what I'm hearing is you agree that we need to do some sort of price reduction. My recommendation is 20,000, right? 20,000 price reduction, and you're really, you're really concerned that you want to be at that $10,000 price reduction. Is that right?
Yeah, you know how it goes. Nobody offers full price. So if
Yeah.
we list it down to 775, like you're suggesting, then we're going to get 755s. And that's just not reasonable. I'm already the nicest home in the neighborhood, and he truly is. I'm already the
Yeah.
nicest home in the neighborhood.
Hey, Maciek, I want to say thank you. You're right. Nobody, a lot of times nobody offers full price. I would totally agree with you with regards to your house being the nicest in the neighborhood. And we've been on the market for 30 days. So what I'm hearing is based on your house being the nicest one in the neighborhood, going down to 775 is too much because someone's going to probably come in lower. You would rather go down a smaller increments to allow more room for negotiation. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, since I'm not expecting anything close to full price, no matter what we do, might as well just lower a little bit and get them
Okay.
coming up on new search results,
Okay.
price
Understood.
reduction, search results type of thing.
I hear you. I hear you. So right now we're priced at 795. And if we do it like you said, we price it at 785. Obviously there'll be a change in MLS, so we'll see that the price has changed, right? But you also just said that you wanted to position the property in a way that, it can, what's the word I'm looking for? Attract new buyers. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because what do new buyers give us?
Um, well, I mean, at the very least, feedback, but activity.
Activity. Good job. I was going to say activity, opportunities to negotiate. It gives us opportunities to receive offers. So I totally hear you. Besides that, that $10,000 gap from where what I'm recommending and from where you're at, is there anything concerning holding you back from getting this house sold as soon as possible? I'll step four.
Uh, no, as you know, we're closing in less than 2 weeks on my next home,
Okay.
and I'm going to start the move. I don't want to carry the two payments, but that's the 4 months worth of payments. That $10,000 is 4 months of me carrying the payments, and I think you can get it sold in those 4 months, in less
Yeah.
than 4 months, frankly, if we just lower it 10.
Okay. Understood. Understood. Well, I hear you. I hear the concern. I also hear the urgency of not wanting to carry two payments. The goal is to get the house sold and to sell it for the highest price that this market today can bear. Are we in agreement with that?
Yes, yes.
I'm in step 5 handling the objection. So you mentioned before is that the opportunity to present the house in front of a whole new set of buyers that have never seen the house is going to be important because it gives us opportunity to sell the house, feedback, activity, everything's beneficial in that, correct? Opening this
Yes.
up. I agree with that, Maciek. I agree with you. And here's something I just want you to I want to share with you is that at our price level right now, on all the consumer sites, everything, people are searching in $25,000 increments. What that means is when people don't see what they like at a certain price point, they either adjust it, they don't typically adjust it by 5,000 or by 10,000. The price categories that are in the site are typically $25,000 increments across the board. I'm not saying everybody, but across the board at the $800,000 price point, people are bracketing their search criteria based on $25,000 price brackets. Would you agree with that comment?
Yeah, that or 50 for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, 25 or more. My biggest concern of going to 785 is if we reduce it just the $10,000, we're the opportunity to present this in front of new buyers is going to be extremely slim because guess what? We're missing that brand new price bracket at $775 by $10,000. So my goal, my thing is, if we really do want to sell this house, I would rather keep it at this current price for another couple of weeks, which then just to lower even a little bit and miss out on the 775 price point. Because ultimately, if we want to position this in front of a new set of buyers, that's going to give us feedback, opportunity, offers, the ability to negotiate with somebody. We have to be at that new price bracket, which that is going to present us into in front of a whole new set of buyers. And that's what you're looking for. So my thing is instead of just doing the small price increase, I should shut up by now, FYI. Instead of doing the small price increase, I don't think it's going to do us justice. I'd rather stay where we're at and then hit the 775 at some point in the future, or go to the 775 now and price it, because that's where all the new buyers are.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying. With having, almost a showing every day since we've launched, I find we're still kind of priced right. Maybe it is a better idea to wait 2 weeks. So do you think that's the better strategy? And then maybe we can readdress this in 2 weeks?
Well, here's the great thing, Maciek, you do have options, and I'm here to give you the data points. I know the biggest concern is in 2 weeks, you're going to be selling your other house and you're going to be carrying 2 mortgages. It's going to be up to you. I would probably say we wait a week if that's what you want to do, and then hit that 775 point. I would do that instead of showing the market that we're slowly and steadily coming down. I would say get to the right price as soon as possible. And then guess what? With us getting showings every day, there could be a great opportunity at the right price point. We're going to get multiple offers, which is going to push that offer right up. And that's what we want. That's how we professionally market a house. Make it attractive to multiple people, hitting that new buyer price bracket, just like we said.
Yeah, I agree. That was
Cool.
great.
Thanks, man. I just went a little, and again, guys, I'm human. I talk too much on these things as well. Like a lot of agents do. Like mine's not as crystal clear, but I tell you what, this is a process. The 5-step easy process is a process that you can just have imprinted in your mind and just keep using it. Keep validating and repeating. Keep asking, why is that important? Keep isolating the objection. And then, just like Sherry said, and Maciek and Bettina, is be able to offer alternatives or highlight the benefits. But one thing I wanted to point out that I did specifically and on purpose with my last role play with Maciek is, did you notice how many times I said it was his idea? I should have even said, I think that's a good idea, Maciek, is to really get to the price point that's going to maximize the exposure. I wanted it to be his decision to get to 775 and not my decision. And so I kept reaffirming and reconfirming that he's right. Hitting the right price bracket is going to give us opportunities to negotiate for feedback. I used his own words. So I wanted to put that where we're really confirming and validating what our clients are saying.